thewellnesscouch.com, streaming wellness into your lives. This is Up for a Chat with Cyndi O'Meara, Carren Smith, and Kim Morrison.
Here we are, up for a chat about the hottest topics that are important to you. I'm Carren Smith.
I'm Kim Morrison.
And I'm Cyndi O'Meara.
And welcome back. Today, we've got something quite fascinating to talk about, actually. There's been so much talk of late around superfoods. And it was a conversation that we were all having this morning, so we thought it was quite pertinent that we share it with you, as we do. And it was about all the new superfoods that are coming out. I was at a conference last night and set myself up with my little kit bag for dinner, and what I had in there was my superfood chia seeds that I'd soaked in the most amazing cashew cream that I'd made. And I also had a half an avocado in there, and I had a handful of blueberries that I was taking with me. And so in my mind, I thought that I had my superfood fix, and I had my Thermomix with all my crushed greens, my green type smoothie number. So in my mind, I had the superfoods, and I came in to do the podcast this morning, and I mentioned to Kim and Cyndi how proud I was of myself, in the hope that they would be just as proud of me with my little kit bag of superfoods. And it was amazing to hear the response, and I thought that it was really, or we all thought that it was really pertinent that we shared our views of what superfoods actually are, and what the marketing strategies are around superfoods, because one day it's one superfood, the next day there's something else being introduced, so now we've just got this cupboard full of superfoods. And really, is it all superfoods? It might be, or is there another way to think about the way that we eat? So this is going to be a podcast heavily dominated by the gorgeous, talented, fabulous, educated nutritionist Cyndi, which will be spurred on with sprightly questions
from the audience, us,
from Kim and I, the lay person looking to have our questions answered. Oh, wise one! Or should we just call you Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Obi-Wan. But you know, you use more superfoods than me. Do you realise that? You use so much. This is Carren. I'm pointing my face at the moment. Is you actually use so many more superfoods than me now. You know, you're really getting into it, like your maca recipe.
Well, I do love my maca powder. It's like my maca powder to me is like an aroma. Do you remember that cartoon? I don't know if you remember it, the Pepe Le Pew. Pepe Le Pew was this little...
Pepe Le Pew.
Pepe Le Pew is a skunk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he falls in love with a cat who's got a white stripe down his back.
Yes. I remember that.
And so Pepe Le Pew gets himself up on his toes, and you hear twinkle, 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 twinkle.
Oh, yes.
As he twinkle, twinkle, twinkles behind her, because he's just following her everywhere. And as he's following her everywhere, he's got this yellow scent that comes out from underneath his tail. And he thinks that that's his pheromone, that's his gorgeousness. To me, I'm like Pepe Le Pew when I get the scent of... Oh, why am I even thinking about it? But when I picture myself with maca powder, I become Pepe Le Pew on my toes. It's like...
Let's just hope she doesn't leave behind a scent that's as worrying as a skunk's.
Well, never thought about that part of it. I just thought of the twinkle toes. Because, like, as soon as I smell maca powder, it's a must-have. I just have this... I
love maca.
Must have it. Yeah, and it fills my pantry. I love it. It's just the most spectacular smell. So, anyway, less about Pepe Le Pew. More about you.
Well, let's Pepe Le Pew this. I just want to read you something, how we market superfoods, Cyndi, and then I'd love you to explain what you think of this. Not all foods were created equal. Some are so packed with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, essential fatty acids, and other beneficial substances that they've been deemed superfoods. Superfoods have incredible health benefits. They pack a powerful nutritional punch that helps protect against cancer and heart disease, lower cholesterol, protect the organs from toxins, and improve digestive health. Some nutritionists even say superfoods can help you live longer. And here is our list of 10 superfoods that supercharge your diet, including fruits, vegetables, dairy, legumes, grains, and fish. Cyndi, what is a superfood?
You know, I have a real struggle with the word superfood, because I actually think that every food that is made in nature is a superfood. So to pick out a chia seed as the superfood, or a maca as a superfood, or a mesquite, or a lucuma, or an acai. We were discussing how to say, is it acai, acai, achai?
Acacia, I always
Yeah.
What have you always
I've always said acacia. I don't know
Acacia.
why. It just looks like a casey berry. Yeah, I know.
Acacia.
Yeah, whatever.
Well,
Mine.
one of those. So, you know, like every new food that comes on the market, you know, we source it in South America, or we found it in the Andes of somewhere, or we found it, you know, and
in the Chihuahuan Desert.
In Chihuahuan Desert.
Yes, the Chihuahuan Desert is where our mesquite comes from. The Chihuahuan Desert in Mexico. Stop it. Nonetheless.
No dogs noticed. Maybe.
No dogs were even hurt in the production of that. Anyway.
So for me, a superfood is a food that we've rediscovered from ancient times, that sustained ancient civilizations in battle or in hard times or in hardship. So they identified these as full of nutrition. That's where I see the superfood name has come out.
Because you're right, it is a lot of the foods that are of older times, or things that we've lost in our modern day diet. Because when I first heard of, I guess, even quinoa, I didn't even know what it was. But I noticed after I did a macrobiotic cooking class, they talked a lot about the different grains and how to prepare them and everything. But it was, and she said these grains have been around for thousands of years. But it sounded so new to me. So are you saying that you think the way they market superfoods is based on foods of old that they've never not been there? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they've always been around. Like if you look at the history of the chia seed, you know, they're talking about, you know, 2,000-3,000 years ago, armies would carry it, and they only needed the chia seed with basically water, and it would sustain them for 10 days because it was so full of nutrition and essential fats and omega-3s. So that's what the chia seed was used for. You know, and you hear this every time you hear a food that's come out, a new superfood that's come out, you hear the history of it. So the quinoa, she's like, I don't even remember the history of most of these, but quinoa came out for me probably 10 years ago when I first started to hear about it. So let's look at the typical Western diet. The typical Western diet is breakfast cereals, which is made from wheat, milk, which is dairy, toast, which is wheat, margarine or butter, whichever they've decided to go with, is dairy or whatever. Then for lunch they'll have a cheese sandwich, which is wheat and dairy. And then for dinner they might have pasta with a little bit of vegetables with cream. So basically they're eating two foods. And that's been, which is wheat and dairy, which has been the whole Western diet. And everyone thinks, no, I have variety. I have wheat bix and I have bread and I have pasta and I have pies and I have pasties and I have this. I have variety, but in actual fact, there's no variety. And we realize that it's really important to have seasonal foods and a variety of foods. And I think what's happened is that we've become so sick with our nutrition and so bad with our nutrition that these superfoods have become into a market that is void of any nutrition. So people go, if I have chia seed and eat this normal diet, then I'll be fine. No, if you just have one superfood and you're eating a diet like I've just, talked about, to me, okay, a little bit of nutrition's there. So you can't look at a superfood and go, if I eat this every day but I continue to eat the Western diet, I'm going to be okay. Superfoods are incorporated into a diet where you're really starting to change what you're eating. Do you see what I'm making sense here?
Yeah, well, I think maybe what's happening in the modern diet, I think you've really hit a good point, is that people are eating these superfoods on top of their bad diet, but they think they're doing all right, so their conscience is cleared. Yeah,
so they'll get the wheat bix and they'll throw the chia seed on top.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe it is a conscious clearing, but for them. But this is what drives me mad, is that, I put my chia seeds on my wheat bix. This is what I hear, and I go, what a waste.
Yeah.
It reminds me of an analogy I heard ages ago. It's like when you haven't brushed your teeth, but you go and use mouthwash.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got to clean your teeth first, then use the mouthwash, and it actually works. But if you don't clean your teeth and you just try and use the mouthwash, you're mouthwashing your dirty mouth.
I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of gross, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, kind of off. But I think it's kind of similar to that in that you're putting the superfood over dirty food. Yeah.
It's a Band-Aid effect, and it, may help you for a short term, but it won't help you in the long term.
It doesn't fix the issue, does it?
Yeah. And you talked about a superfood even giving you longevity.
Yes.
And that's what we want, is we want longevity, but longevity is a result of many things that we do, not just putting one superfood in. So maca has one that's become popular, and then the chia seed, and then there was the goji berry. But a goji berry is just a piece of fruit that's dried. So is a sultana, and so is a currant, and so is an apricot, and so is a mango, and so is, it's just it's way that it's marketed. And yes, it has nutrition in it. But like I was at the Fine Food Festival, in Melbourne. It wasn't a festival, it was a fine food fair. And thousands of people from around the world were there, from China and the South Pacific and South America and Africa, offering their food. And what was really interesting is that I went to this Chinese guy. It was the only guy that could speak English. A lot of them can't even speak English. But he spoke English really well, and I wanted to get goji berry into the Changing Habits food, into their food. But the thing is that what I found was that he said there is no such thing as organic goji berry now on a commercial level.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is what he told me. And I've actually, since he told me this, I've started to taste the goji berries, and there's a bit of a soapy taste to them. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they were brought in on as a superfood.
I thought that was just the taste.
No, they've been brought in as a superfood, but he says on a commercial level, if you want tons and tons of this to sell, it's very hard to find organic. Now, I may be wrong. There could be somebody out there that can, but I really felt like I could trust this
him.
one.
Yeah.
Because he said, look, I can do this organic, and I can do this organic, and I can do this, but I can't do goji berry organic.
It's a bit like us with our oils, to be honest. Like, when I see a skincare range say it's organic, and yet I know for a fact that at the moment we cannot get some oils organically grown, like sandalwood or rosewood. And yet I see a range that has that. I kind of go, well, how are you selling that as organic when I know for a fact it's unavailable? So I think people tap onto the bandwagon. And as a consumer, it's very confusing to understand you might go and get your blueberries, but then I just read somewhere the other day that blueberries and strawberries, actually all our berries, are one of the worst as far as chemicals on them are concerned, because now we do see them maybe as a superfood. We're wanting more, and to grow them more, they're having to put all the,
So I had a really good friend who was a strawberry farmer. God. And she knows what I'm like. Yeah. Kim's just shot herself.
But, we do it with everything.
Yeah.
We do it with everything. We want more meat, so we go and farm it. We want more chicken, we go and farm it. We're a hungry planet born around or based around consumerism, for goodness sake. And in the process, we ruin everything.
But it's the way we eat. And I think what we've got to do is got to become a microcosm rather than a macrocosm.
Yeah.
And like my girlfriend knew what I'm like, and she started a strawberry farm. And she would give me a box of strawberries, and she would say, make sure you wash these. She said, make sure you wash them, because we put this chemical on it. So they weren't organic. But she would put a chemical on it. So she says it's very important that you wash them because of the amount of chemicals they put on. So she really put me on guard with berries, because I always think of berries as a fairly good superfood. Your blueberries are wonderful. Your cranberries, cranberries are really good for if you've got a kidney infection or a urine,
they're brilliant.
urinary tract
Juice,
infection.
isn't it?
Yeah, they're good cranberries. So I became very, very shy from berries, even though I still love them. You become quite shy of them. And then, there was that whole thing in Australia where all of our berries, our frozen berries, are coming from China.
That's
and
right.
They're using some sort of something on it. So are they a superfood in the end?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're coming from China, and they're using a chemical on them that's not allowed in Australia. And
My freezer is full of
Same.
mixed berries and raspberries and
blueberries
strawberries and cherries because I put them in my smoothies. I can't use them.
yeah. Look, you know what? I look at it this way. We can only do the best with what we have. And I would rather see you eat the berries than have a lean cuisine, a meal of lean cuisine, or a protein shake. So we've got to have some, we've got to have a little bit of common sense in this way. Look, I would rather us have, berries that had no chemicals put on it, and you can buy them. They are available. And what's really good in Queensland is that we have 2 seasons for berry. In the winter, it's our berries. So in our winter, our berries come in. In Victoria, in the summer their berries come in. So like I was down Victoria the other like just a couple of months ago, and I went to an organic blueberry farm and just got all the blueberries I could possibly got and basically lived on blueberries. So I try and eat very seasonally. Oh, they were stunning, absolutely stunning. She actually was. She realised how excited I was about it. So she actually took me to the trees, and we were eating blueberries off the trees.
You know, there's a place in Auckland, just north of Auckland, called Warkworth, and there's a place there called Omaha Blueberries, I think, from memory. I used to drive up an hour and a quarter every couple of weeks, and I'd go and buy 5 kilos of these frozen organic blueberries, and then have them in my freezer, because I knew when he picked them and what he did to them and all that sort of jazz. Because I think freezing berries is a great way to put them into your smoothies and shakes. And a snack for us, then the kids at night, is sitting there, we'll get out a bowl of frozen berries, and that's our sweet treat. And the kids love it.
We freeze grapes, by the way.
Oh, so do we.
Yeah.
Last night, that's the only food that we've actually felt like eating lately. We've all been a bit run down, but the frozen grapes are like having
It's just amazing,
an
isn't
ice
it?
cream treat.
Yeah.
It's insane. I love frozen grapes. Oh, love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I haven't tried that.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
they're
they're
beautiful.
beautiful. And then I throw them in my green shake.
Yeah.
And when I'm making a green smoothie. So we thought today, rather than say to you what the typical superfoods out there are, we thought we'd talk about the food. We think all, as Cyndi said, naturally processed, organically grown, uninterrupted,
Uninterfered with.
foods.
Uninterfered with foods.
Are superfoods. But maybe we could talk about some of our particular favourites and the ways that we use them, which we thought would be beneficial to you.
So get in behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know, like, I believe the biggest superfood of all is that when you grow your own foods and you go and harvest them and eat them within a very short period of time. Because we know this, when we pick a food within 6 hours, we lose 98% of the phytonutrients within a food.
No way.
Yeah, within 6 hours.
Did not know that.
No.
Yeah, so we lose 98% of the phytonutrients. So we've got vitamins and minerals, and we have this, we didn't realise this when I did nutrition, there was no such thing as phytonutrients. But because we lost the nutrition of the phytonutrients in that 6 hour period after picking, we didn't realise they existed. And there are basically thousands of nutrients within the food that disappear or get lost or decrease in value after we pick them. Well, you think about the hunter-gatherer. They would go to a tree and pick the food and eat it.
What's a phytonutrient?
A phytonutrient is a classification of vitamins that we probably haven't even classified. Okay, so
they're like tiny vitamins.
Okay, we could call them... All right, let's call them tiny vitamins. They're just called phytonutrients. They're in the plant. They're nutrients within the plant, and they protect the plant. They help the plant. They do things for the plant. And as we eat them, they do things for us.
And naturally, once the plant is picked, their usefulness is no longer required.
So they disappear.
Got it.
Yeah. So
Oh my God.
when you think about old days, we used to pick the food, grind it, use it, pick the food, use it in our cooking, eat it. We didn't have to go to the supermarket that actually got their food from China that had been stored, in conditions. So to me, a superfood is any food that you're growing at home that you go out and pick and you eat within a couple of hours. So what I do is, we all do this. We get our green smoothies. So to me, a green smoothie is going out to my garden and picking anything that's green. Celery tops, sorrel, lettuce, spinach,
Kale. I've got
kale.
kale in my garden.
Kale, parsley, spearmint, peppermint. Our beautiful Peter gave us our beautiful spearmint plant, and we've both got that growing in our garden. So I go out there and I just stack it in the Thermomix or the Vitamins or whatever you've got. Throw it in there. Throw frozen berries in if I want, an apple in, some ice.
I put in a zucchini.
Cucumber.
Date. I put a couple of dates if I want to sweeten it, and sometimes I put coconut yogurt in it if I want, or a bit of your
Or coconut
yogurt.
water.
Coconut water.
Yeah.
And there was something, and sometimes, and I do like to put in your probiotics. A teaspoon of your probiotics in there, because I find that really helps with my tummy. So I find that shake, if I don't get anything else into me or my kids' stomachs, I'm happy if we've got that in us.
I put the Inky Inchy powder
Oh, yes.
in it because I'm vegan, and I put the Inky Inchy in it now as my protein hit. And I just have that whenever I feel like it.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things that you can add to create, the biggest superfood of all. And it could be coconut oil, it could be the inchi inchi oil, it could be the inchi inchi powder, the maca powder, the mesquite, the lucuma. I could go on. And you can go overboard, I think.
Yeah.
But the main theme that people need to understand is that a superfood is a food that is packed with nutrients that will be able to help your body do what it needs to do. That's innate intelligence, that it knows exactly what to do with it. It doesn't know what to do with additives, preservatives, flavourings, preservatives, chemicals that have been sprayed on it, anything like that. So that, to me, is my definition of a superfood. But then we've got the added extra superfoods. We were talking about a fermented food is a real superfood. So sauerkraut is a fermented food that will help colonate the bowel. The nutrients, because of the way that you've fermented the food, are more available to the body.
How do you make sauerkraut?
It's basically cabbage. You throw salt in it and you massage it for 20 minutes about.
Wow.
It's a fair time. Like, I'm trying to figure out how I can do it in the Thermomix because your hands get really, really sore. So you finally chop your cabbage. You put the salt in.
How much
massage
salt?
it.
Sorry.
Oh, geez, I just sprinkle. So let's say...
See another recipe.
This is the thing. You don't want it too salty, so probably a teaspoon, maybe 2 teaspoons. Mm-hmm. And you massage it, and it makes a juice. Mm-hmm. It's actually a juice that it makes. And you want to make enough juice that when you pack your cabbage into your glass jar, that the juice is covering the cabbage. Then what you do is that you... make sure that you keep the cabbage down. So you use the outer cabbage leaves and you stack it in your jar. Then you put the lid on the jar and you let it sit and it ferments.
Can you eat it straight away?
No, it has to ferment.
Oh, how long does it have to ferment?
It should ferment within a 24-hour, 48-hour period. It will ferment. And then you can put it in the fridge to stop the fermentation process. And if you've sealed your jar, then it will ferment to only when the oxygen is gone, and then it will stop the fermentation process. And that's why you can buy sauerkraut just off it's a natural preservative, so you buy it just off the shelf rather than through
Germans
the
are
fridge.
very much into it, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you have it and you just then dish up a meal, and you can have it on your salad, or
you
have it on your
you
side?
put it on your salad, you put it beside your meat. Like, they love their corned beef.
Yeah.
And I make my own corned beef. I never ever buy corned beef. I'll go and buy Silverside. And I'll salt it. I'll put salt, let it sit for 36 hours in the fridge so that it does its own salting and its own preservation. So I don't use nitrates or nitrites or any colours. I just use the salt. And then I boil it. I boil the Silverside. I know, these girls are both sticking their tongue out.
Do you know what's so funny?
But that's what the Germans do.
We had a barbecue here one night, and Danny, hunter-gatherer that he is, took out some meat out of the freezer that my dad had given him from his farm. Yeah, and they put it on the barbecue, and I was watching these guys. You know how guys talk and eat, and they
grunt.
They grunt, and they do their little macho thing at the barbecue. Well, they're all standing there, and I'm like watching them drink like quite a lot of beer, and I'm looking over and I'm like, what's wrong? And they're all going, well, it tastes really salty. And I went, are you nutters? He took out the corned beef, like the stuff that had been done, and sliced it up and then tried to barbecue it. I thought it was hilarious. But anyway.
It would be very salty.
And they were downing beers like no tomorrow.
So interestingly enough, corned beef is my partner Matt's favourite. I mean, I think it's revolting because it's always got pipes in it. And every time I cut it, there's always pipes through the cut of meat.
Oh, really?
That they use. Yeah, it's all these little
that sounds like liver. It sounds like liver, not Silverside.
No.
It was very hard for us, because and I, to talk about these things.
Whereas me being the meat eater in the family.
Okay, so fermented foods. What other sorts of fermented foods?
Well, so there's kimchi. Notice how they got off it. But you were asking me what the Germans do. So they do their corned beef with their sauerkraut. That's what they do.
After the pod, actually, I will get you to repeat that, how you do your corned meat, because Matt would love to have that.
Say it again.
That's in my book, Changing Habits, Changing Lives cookbook.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so just all you have to do is look up.
I've only got 3 or 4, maybe 8 of those.
Copies, no, just look it up in that. And there's how you do your own Silverside, how you do your own preservation of the Silverside. to make the corned beef. And then what we do is we boil it, because the salt will then come out, but it's a preserved meat. But the taste is amazing. So I put clove in it. And then I use, by the way, you cannot use the water because it's too salty. And I gave it to my dog once. Poor Ovi. Yeah, it was just, he was drinking water for the next, I learnt big time. Anyway.
He would have gone for beer as well.
Yeah, he was doing exactly what your husband was doing.
Yeah.
So it's really important to do fermented food. So every culture in the world ferments food. So it could be yogurt, it could be kimchi, a sourdough bread. All of these are ways of fermenting foods. And the fermentation process, what it does is it makes the nutrients more available to the body. That's the whole idea of it. It's not only to preserve it naturally, but to make the nutrients available to the body.
And I've heard that it alkalizes. Is that right? Like it helps settle...
Well, anything where you give good nutrition will alkalize the body, because the body is well in an alkaline state rather than an acidic state, depending on which part of the body you're talking about, because you want acidity in your stomach in order to digest proteins and things like that and throughout the intestine. But you don't necessarily want it in your cells. Your cells need to be in an alkaline state to be healthy. So anything that's going to create an alkaline state, such as fermentation of foods, and looking at alkaline foods as opposed to acid foods, and that's the way they react in the body more than anything. So, one of the things that I've gotten really interested in is yogurt and yogurt making. And as you girls know, I've just been to Italy to...
Show off.
So I did go to work. I went to work.
Liar.
So anyway, I ended up...
She skied, she shopped, she played. Yeah. No, she ate. Yeah.
What was really good is that my luggage got lost for 3 days. And so I had to go out and buy all new clothes.
Oh,
yes.
Stop it.
In France, if you can imagine that.
Ambulance.
That's not a tragedy.
No, it wasn't a
Karen's eyesight.
tragedy.
That's actually...
That's an opportunity.
Unbelievable opportunity.
It was. It was lost for 3 days. So the airline gave me up $40 a day, which I thought was pretty pathetic. You can't buy much on $40 a day.
No.
And you know what was the worst thing? Is that I had no 28s. Yeah. No 28. And I went into the pharmacy because there's no health food stores where I was. So I go in the pharmacy and there was Weleda?
Dr. Hauschka, Weleda, yeah.
There was chemicals in it.
Yeah, well...
I was really shocked.
Yeah, there's a whole thing around a number of the organic and so-called products that we've all believed in for many years. A lot of the times they've been taken over by other companies and they don't have the same values as the core creator of it. And I'm not suggesting that's Weleda, but I have noticed Weleda is one of the ones that I always had up in the ethically natural categories. Too. But it's changed for me lately, just with what they're doing.
I ended up buying the almond oil because that's all they had. And I also bought the toothpaste because that's the only toothpaste I could find. So I figured if oil and toothpaste is all I needed, as far as that went. So that's all I went. But anyway, I went to Italy to a family-owned business that has been making cultures for cheeses and yogurts and fermented foods for the last... Now, what's the problem? Well, we bored here. You should have seen these two girls. They've had 3 hours sleep between them, and they both did a yawn together. It was wonderful.
It's just terrible when one yawns. You always copy someone else.
I know.
Oh, stop it.
And let's not talk about yawning because
she started.
No,
she started.
You know what we need? I need to go and grab my green drink. Yep. So while you're talking, I will go and grab
and
a green drink.
And energy and vitality.
Yep.
We need your energy and vitality.
Hold the line, please, caller. You really are a fly on the wall.
She is. She's going out to get the green drink. So let me talk about why I went. So I went to a factory that's been a family-owned business since 1870, somewhere like that, and they started making rennet and then to make cheeses.
Now rennet is that the cow's
stomach? Yeah, it's like it's an enzyme within the stomach lining of the cow, and it makes cheeses. So that's where they started, and then of course now they've grown into a company that does ferments for meat, vegetables, and dairy. So I went for the dairy because I was really interested in finding a really good yogurt. And I've been experimenting for the last 6 months in Australia with their culture.
Yeah.
And their culture is just amazing. It's a really mild sweet tasting culture. And so all you do is basically you heat your milk up to 90 degrees. And what was really good was that at this factory, it actually explained to me why we heat the milk to 90 degrees. What's the purpose of it?
Yeah.
And what's the purpose of bringing it down to 42 degrees and why we incubate it at 42 degrees. And this whole thing made me realize the importance of fermented foods and especially yogurt within, a diet if we want to recolonate the bowel. So we can talk about that later because what we're wanting to talk about now is what are our superfoods. So one of them is our fermented foods. And so we've now talked about yogurt. Your white cheeses are fermented.
But just before you move on from that, in terms of the yogurt, it's such a staple for so many people. Like, you don't know what to eat, so you have a yogurt. I throw nuts in the yogurt, and that's sometimes my breakfast if I'm on the fly or what have you. It makes a lot of sense then that we would have a yogurt that is the right kind of yogurt, because isn't there a distinction between the yogurt that we buy off the shelf and the yogurt that we're going to make with your cultures once they arrive?
Yeah, definitely. And that's why I went looking, because even the organic yogurt that I've always loved, even that organic yogurt, I just want you to know that Kim has just come back in and she has given us our green drinks, and they are very green. And
they're very thick.
And they're very thick. Really, and the two yawners in the podcast today are really pushing it back and enjoying it.
What's in it?
What's in it? Yeah, let's see what's in it.
Kale, zucchini, spinach.
Sorry.
Kale, zucchini, spinach, coconut water, a banana, almonds.
That's what I just choked on.
Almonds, Inca Inchi.
The oil? Or the powder?
No, the powder.
Uh-huh.
And water and ice. Apple.
It smells very sweet.
It's very sweet. I just had a taste of it.
Peppermint and spearmint out of the garden.
Oh, really?
So this is a superfood. To me, it's not like one superfood. We've thrown a whole bunch of superfoods in there. You've put it in the Thermomix and you've ground it for about a minute.
Yeah.
And this, to me, is where we should be instead of these breakfast cereals and modified milks. So let's go back to the yogurt, because that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
So the reason I went looking for this is that I realised that some of my organic yogurts were starting to put AMPCs in, which are milk protein concentrates.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah, they're starting to put that in, and I want, I don't want to dilute the goodness of a food by adding things to thicken it or whatever it's there for. I didn't want that. There was only one yogurt in the whole of Australia that I've found, and I know there's probably more out there, it's just what I've found, that didn't have an MPC in it, a milk protein concentrate, or didn't have some thickener. So they were my good yogurts.
Yeah.
But then let's look at the yogurts that most people think is yogurt.
That's right.
And they're sweet treats.
Oh, look. I mean, Matt, we go grocery shopping, and Matt loves his yogurts because they're small, they're convenient, and he can just throw it down. And Matt's not quite where I am yet, but he's getting there, in terms of the way that he thinks about his food as he buys it. But it is, he buys that because it says no fat or low fat, and it's got beautiful, bright pictures of strawberries on it, and it's very sweet for him. So while he's going off sugar, that yogurt's a beautiful treat. Like that's kind of like his substitute. But I think that can't even be yogurt though.
No, and it's not a superfood at all. I would
Is it
put
even
it
a
in the
food?
exact opposite. Well, have a look at the ingredients. Some of them, if you look at them, they've got additives, preservatives, flavourings. They don't even have the strawberry in there. They might have a picture of a strawberry, but it's a strawberry flavouring. So that, and a strawberry flavouring has 48 chemicals in order to make it strawberry flavouring.
Wow.
So, you can't even put that in a food category. You're right. You can't even put it in a food category. But when you are making the yogurt yourself, you know that this fermented food is doing you good, and it becomes a superfood. The same with your sauerkraut. There are some sauerkrauts that are made traditionally and some that aren't. And if I'm making a sourdough, a sourdough I'll use whey. And whey is really is another type of superfood. And the way I do whey, rather than as a protein powder whey and as a powder, the way I do whey is I get my yogurt that I've just made, and I put it in a cloth, so a muslin cloth, in a sieve on a glass jar, and throw it in the fridge. And what happens is all the whey comes out of the yogurt, which has got its culture in it, so it's still in its fermented state and easily to digest. And what I'm left with is this yogurt cheese. It's very thick. And I can make all my dips with that.
Wow.
So I can make dips with it. And it's so thick that you could add it to like a little bit of soup if you wanted to, or add it on a dessert, or add it onto our cater. So this is how you make that whey. And then with that whey, I will use it to ferment like kimchi. Kimchi is a Korean vegetable that they ferment. Or I can make sourdough bread with that, or all of these things I can do with the ferments. So ferments to me is a definite superfood.
Okay, so maybe then what we're talking about here is, rather than a superfood, we're talking about a superfood way of eating, maybe.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So because I would think that, because people say that chia and is a superfood, and yet so is kale, so is broccoli, but maybe we could say green vegetables are a superfood. So make sure you're getting your greens into you. Maybe that's the way we're looking at this. Fermented foods, green foods. So
all your green foods, like your broccoli, your broccolini, your asparagus, and especially if you're going to the markets to buy this stuff, all your kales, or all of those. Better still, the ones you've picked.
That's
better
right.
still.
That's
She just dropped the phone.
sorry.
Oh, sorry, I just bumped the
On the
microphone.
microphone, sorry. Yeah. Oh, is it still working? We'll just make sure we're still on. We're still going, guys.
Sorry about that. That was all my fault.
You wanted to be a fly on the wall. Well, here you are. You're a fly on the wall with
really are
three
today.
glasses.
You really are today. Because I just started getting excited as I turned around to Cindy, because I thought, I actually went to put a beautiful big herb garden in my backyard, and veggie garden in my backyard. And I kind of got a bit disillusioned with it because it was such a lot of work, and it was also quite expensive. And I thought, you know what? I live across the road from the farmer's market, and I'll just rip across there and go and get it, because they know how to grow it much better than I do, and they'll be able to grow the variety. But now hearing about the phytonutrient, now by the time I get to the farmer's market, that's already gone.
Your farmer's markets are better. So if you do not have your garden, your farmer markets are better. Why not just have a herb garden? They're weeds. They grow crazy. And just put a little garden out there and throw herbs in there.
Is that what I thought they were weeds in your garden, Kimmy? I was actually looking out your window going, God, she needs to hire a gardener, or she needs to get in and get
bloody rude. Bloody rude is what I'd say about this girl.
No, they're all herbs. They're herbs. And herbs, I heard a definition of a weed. A weed is a herb that doesn't have a definition as to how it helps the body yet. Something like that.
And yet weeds, if you talk to some herbalists and people like that, there are some amazing weeds out there that are phenomenal. I think the dandelion is one.
And we were just looking up lucuma before, is considered a weed.
Yeah, you said that.
That there's a whole
So now when we're saying eat weed or get into weed, just stay with us here.
I knew you were going to go there. Okay, so just say it. She's not talking about marijuana. She's not talking about
that
the
is
weed
a green
that you
plant.
smoke.
Yes. Anyway,
but all right, let's go to hemp.
Okay.
Because that's what weed is. It's a hemp.
Is it?
Yeah, weed is hemp. That's marijuana is hemp.
Yeah. And they make clothing from it.
I did not know that.
They make protein powders out of it. They make oil out of it. Yeah.
I was about to order some online.
Hash cookies. Not that I know anything about that.
So I shouldn't buy it then?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just...
no wonder she's tired.
Yeah, I don't want to be stoned because I've put hemp oil on
hemp shake.
Yeah. I think it's a different version.
Yeah.
It's a different version.
And I don't think it has the THC.
It's something like that.
There's
I can't remember it in it.
Don't quote me here, but there's something in marijuana, the drug, when you smoke it, I'm sure it's something like THC, and please email us, tell us what it is. But that's the component that creates all the issues around the...
And if you do email us to tell us what it is, we won't judge you.
And we won't ask how you knew that.
Correct.
Which is why I'm pleading ignorant.
You could say you read it in a magazine. Yes, you could.
Anyway, so yes.
But it's interesting in Australia, hemp, I'm pretty sure hemp oil and hemp, it cannot be sold as a food. It can only be sold as a skin product. In other parts of the world, it's different.
Well,
I'm pretty sure.
There's a guy who's written a book called Thrive, and his name's Brendan Brazier, and he's the no meat athlete.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and I've bought his books of late. He's got the 2 books on how to be an athlete without consuming animal product, purely just out of interest for myself. And a lot of his recipes in his books require hemp seed, hemp oil, hemp powder, hemp protein, hemp flour.
He's right into it.
Yeah, he's right into it. So I've jumped online and thought, okay, well, I'll go online and buy it. Can't buy it in Australia. I have to buy it overseas.
Exactly. For human consumption.
For human consumption.
Yep, exactly.
Good grief.
Yeah, but I like, it's like any... It was so interesting that you say that, because when I was bringing the Inky Inchy into
Well,
Australia...
that's what I'm just thinking. I could just use your Inky Inchy.
Well, you can use the Inky Inchy. It's the same.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
it's not identical, because I looked at hemp oil as using that as an omega-3.
Yeah.
But the Inky Inchy came up trumps.
Right.
And as far as protein came, I think we're about 10% of the hemp. Ours is 64%, whereas I think hemp was 50%. And I may be wrong here, but I remember looking at it going, well, I'm not allowed to have it in Australia. I've got to find something else.
Yeah.
But even bringing the Inky Inchy oil in, we struggled at customs.
Did you?
Yeah, because they call it a novel food.
God,
Because
a
it's
novel,
new.
old, ancient food.
Ancient food, yeah.
It's a novel.
I was thinking novel, is that in funny or what? Like
No, as in...
New.
unusual?
Yeah, new, more novel, new, or it's not a food that's normally brought into Australia.
Right.
So they were questioning it, and they questioned quite a few things, and it took us quite a while to get out of customs. But we did, because these are new things. This is it's like when goji berry comes in. It's like when chia seed came in. These were all new, and somebody had to break the path to get it into Australia.
Yep.
Now chia is actually grown in Australia. Actually, the biggest growing place of chia is in the Kimberleys.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. That in the whole of the world now is in the Kimberleys, and they distribute worldwide now. Whereas it's a South American food, but the Kimberleys in northwestern Australia have the same type of growing conditions, and so they're able to do it.
Wow. Nice to know.
Yeah, look, superfoods. I think we need to redefine them as not those. There's 10 out there.
Yeah,
there are hundreds out there, and like
I like
right
the way
now,
we're categorising
Yeah,
it.
we're categorising them. So our first one was anything green. All the green stuff. The second we did ferments.
Yeah.
But what about our nuts and seeds? Our nuts and seeds are like nature's vitamin and mineral packed. Without having to synthetically make it in a chemical laboratory. So when you basically have a nut still in its shell, and that nut, the shell breaks, and that nut is in the ground, and you give it water and nutrients, it will grow an almond tree, or it will grow, an acorn will grow an acorn tree. No, is that what they grow? An acorn grows an acorn tree?
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an oak tree. Isn't
Oak tree. It's one of those trees.
Was I on the right path there?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking squirrels.
You and animals.
I always
As you always do.
I'm just picturing little squirrels with a little acorn. That'd be very cute.
So the preservative is the. Let's get back on track. The preservative is the shell, and when you break it, then it actually creates the plant. So if you break that shell, long time, like years before you actually eat that nut, it's lost its nutrition. Do you see?
Absolutely.
It's nature's preservative is that shell. So I've always said in my book, Changing Habits, Changing Lives, I actually say, instead of just eating, nuts, why don't you eat nuts as you crack them? Because that's the superfood. Yes, you can eat nuts that we have, that has been packaged, but the best is the nuts in their shell, because that's your superfood. Because it's still got the phytonutrients, the nutrients, and all the essential fats. It hasn't gone rancid. There's no need for any preservative to go on it.
That's it's almost like a tradition around Christmas. I've always got this feeling
You've
everyone
always
sits
got
around with
that.
their nutcrackers and your big hardened.
Can you even get a nutcracker anymore?
you
can
I
get-
don't even know
yeah.
where you would get nuts that are still in their shells, for goodness sake.
Well, I buy them all the time. Like here in Queensland, macadamia nuts are local.
Oh, yeah, I get those. I've seen
and
those.
walnuts are winter, and they come up from Victoria. Pecans are Queensland. Ricky, my girlfriend Ricky, who I walk with, she has a pecan tree on her 10 acres. So, I get pecans from her. So they're available. It's just that we don't know about it because we're not out there searching. So that's what this podcast is all about. It's for Carren to realise how to find nuts. And the other good thing about nuts in their shell is that you can't eat more than you can crack. So you open up a pack of nuts and you just keep eating and eating and eating.
I eat way too many when I do that.
Yeah.
And then I feel sick.
Yeah, so this way there is a limit on how many you're going to eat because you get sick at cracking.
So we need to
Especially
make a
those
note here,
Maccas.
salted roasted pistachio nuts that still have their shell.
Yeah.
Isn't one of those. Right, I'm just checking.
Oh, we're taking that right.
Yeah, shame.
Shame, because I can inhale a whole bag of those.
They're so
Put
good.
me in front of the telly of a show that I'm just loving.
With a bag of pistachios.
Bag of pistachios, and you know what else? I know this is just. For most people it's going to sound silly, but I have a bag of lettuce. Yeah, you can buy the lettuce in bags. Yeah, I eat that with chips with my pistachios. So lettuce, chips. Most people will sit down with popcorn. I'll eat the lettuce, and I love
What chips?
lettuce.
You mean potato crisps?
No, I eat the lettuce like chips.
Like chips.
Oh, with your pistachios.
With pistachios.
Oh no, that sounds divine.
And you can actually make kale chips.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
you can
know.
make kale chips. So you can just get the kale and they can actually be crispy for you then instead of soggy lettuce.
Well, can you tell us how to make that, please?
Which one, the kale?
Kale chips.
Kale chips? Well, we just put in the oven, and usually Tanya and I, which is my daughter, we'll just throw some salt or in some herbs on it, and then you just put it in the oven, and I'm just trying to think how long we put it in for.
So you roast it?
You roast it in the oven.
Not
There's no oil
dehydrated.
on
I
it
don't put oil on it or anything. I
It's
just
not
put it...
dehydrated with the door open. It's just
It's
door
just
closed.
door closed in the oven. I think it's 10 minutes until you see it looking crispy. Yeah.
Is that it?
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's it. That's a kale chip. That's all we do. We don't oil it. We don't do anything. We just put herbs and spices, or usually herbs
Salt.
and salt.
I wonder if you could make a big spinach chip. You buy the big
Yeah, the big one.
spinach leaves.
I don't
Like
see
a
why
silver
not.
bean?
Like a silver beet, yeah.
I tear it and make it into chips and then throw it on. You maybe you could. I haven't tried it, but I take the stalk out. I don't leave the stalk in. Oh well, there you go.
So that's part of our green
So that's
superfood.
that would be part of our greens is our kale
Yeah.
chips and our lettuce chips, as she's now defined.
Sorry about that. Sidetracked us, but I had
Sidetracked.
to get that bit of information
I'm
for
quite
myself.
I quite like it.
Yeah, no,
Quite
I
like
do
it.
too. So our nuts and seeds are superfoods, but especially if they're still in their shell.
Absolutely.
Seeds you can't get in their shell because they don't have shells, But they're nature's way of packing in nutrients.
Cindy, do you suggest that we store our nuts and seeds in the fridge and in glass, or both?
Definitely in glass and definitely in cool environments.
Yeah,
I do
I
not
keep
want
mine
them
in the
in
fridge.
hot environments. But remember that a shelled nut can take all sorts of temperatures because, and I mean not an oven temperature, I'm talking about temperatures
days.
of hot days, because it's protected. But otherwise a nut can't. You need look. If I had my time over again with as far as my house goes, I would put a walk-in cool room.
Yeah.
And I would have all my grains and my legumes and my nuts and my seeds and everything would go in there. Like they're in my pantry, which is in the middle of the house, which keeps cool because it's dark. And I always keep, my pantry dark. So, we can do this.
The best, yeah.
But the best would be I'd love a walk-in cool room.
So,
Imagine how
so in a
many
new
things
house,
you'd
you'd have a walk-in wardrobe for shoes.
Yeah, and the cool
At
room.
one end, then you have walk-in food room. Oh,
Walk-in fridge, really.
stop it.
I like
And especially when you, when you buy in bulk.
it. Yeah.
And another thing is that we haven't talked about nuts and seeds is the best way to consume nuts especially is to activate them. And the activation process is much like it is in nature. When the shell is broken, it then is moistened by water, which then activates the nutrients to grow the tree.
Yes.
And the same would be for us, is if we have nuts and we activate them overnight in water, then, that's like what nature would do in activating it. But I don't think it's a necessity, but I think it's another way of creating an even greater superfood with the nut.
Because it's interesting that you bring that up. There was a thing on one of the morning shows. One of the well-known chefs posted on Facebook that he was activating his nuts and eating quinoa and so on. And do you,
It's just so funny. I activate my nuts.
Oh, the chef. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
She's gone there again.
She's
No,
gone there
it
again.
just sounded weird. Sorry.
No, we know you. We've met. Anyway, so he posted on Facebook that he was, this is what he was eating, and then the next and there was quite a bunch of hoo-ha about, him soaking the nuts and talking about activated nuts and the health benefits of it. He got a barrage of responses on his page about it, so much so that the next morning, the morning show brought a nutritionist on and was talking about activating nuts versus not activating nuts. And they actually made quite a song and dance about it. And
Were they against it or for it?
Negative.
What did the nutritionist say?
Well, the nutritionist was actually saying it's a waste of time, it's useless, don't do it, it doesn't work, it's pathetic,
my God.
And it's the same nutritionist that also talks about Diet Coke versus Coke. She says go for Diet Coke. And she talks about margarine versus butter.
Oh, that's why.
And go for margarine.
Go for margarine. So I mean, the whole premise of the segment was flawed, but it was interesting because I thought, well, what are they basing their research on? Because clearly, when they say go for Diet Coke over Coke or margarine over butter, there's clearly no research, and blind Freddie can see that there's no research behind that. But I thought it was interesting because there was a lot of controversy just about soaked nut.
Yeah, I know.
What the?
I know. It's such a simple thing to do. Like, I'm soaking nuts in the fridge right now because I'm going to make some Brazil nut milk.
Oh,
But I know when I'm doing the kids, if I was making a curry for dinner tonight, I put my rice, my brown rice, I put into a bowl of water before I cook it tonight. I love soaking my rice and my nuts.
And it cooks quicker, so you're not using as much energy. And the soaking process is a natural process that happens in nature. And so whenever somebody says something to me about, like, is soaking nuts a crazy thing to do or not, I actually go back to nature. And I go, well, what would nature do? It's like, what would love do? There's that show, What Would Love Do? A lot of people do that. Well, I do, what would nature do? And nature will soak the nuts in order for it to
Germinate.
germinate, burst open and create whatever it is creating.
And it's in that moment, I would imagine, the highest, most potent amount of vitamins, nutrients and phytonutrients and everything would be there in order to create that growth, wouldn't it?
you used the phytonutrient word. Anyway.
So, like, we've just done nuts and seeds. You've actually brought up a really good superfood, which is sprouted food. So it could be sprouted nuts, sprouted seeds. So a lot of people know of alfalfa, or what are those? I don't even know.
The sprouted snow peas.
Yeah, the snow peas.
Mung beans.
There's heaps of them out there. You can sprout any seed, and it's a matter of soaking first. You've got to soak them first. And then you empty the water out. So what I do is I have mine in a glass jar. You don't need anything special. Just need a glass jar. Put a teaspoon of your seed and make sure the seed hasn't been irradiated or anything like that. Make sure it's a sprouting seed because some of our seeds that come in from overseas do get irradiated and there's no way that they can sprout.
What's irradiated?
Well, because of our customs, especially in Australia, they want to make sure that there's no bugs and scary things on foods that come in. When you bring organic produce in, it goes through special a process so that they do not fumigate it, they don't irradiate it, they don't do anything like that. Like a lot of our spices are irradiated that come into the country. That's why I always get whole spices, and there's another superfood that we'll go into is the spices and things like that. All right, so our sprouts. Let's talk about sprouts. So I get a glass jar, put a teaspoon of my seed in, I add water to it, and I let it soak overnight. I then have a muslin cloth over the mouth of the jar. I put an elastic band around it, pour the water out, and I put it on its side, making sure that they're really separated. And I just put it on my kitchen bench where there's some sunlight coming in, or there's light, and then I rinse them every day. Living in a humid environment, especially in the summer in Queensland, is very hard to sprout. They go mouldy before they really sprout.
I found that. I actually went out and bought a 3-layer sprouter.
Of course you did.
Yes.
Yeah. She didn't
right.
just do the glass jar.
No, well, I saw this is funny actually, because I saw the glass jar, I googled it, and I saw the glass jar and I thought, that's all far too hard. Let me go and get a little maker. So I tootled off and got me a $40 maker. which is just this three-tiered sprout doohickey thingy. And that was the problem. I bought my beautiful adzuki beans because I wanted to sprout beans. So I bought the beautiful adzuki beans, the black-eyeds, the mung beans, and I put them all in their separate little layers. But the ones on the bottom just turned to squishy, mushy, furry stuff, and the ones on the top didn't actually sprout
It's
at
the
all.
humidity in the summer. Try it in the winter, and we'll have this discussion when you've done the winter. Where are we? April, May now.
I threw out the sprouter.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
That I did.
Oh.
I did because
Get
I
your
thought it
glass
doesn't
jar,
work.
love. Back to the glass jar.
Back to the glass jar.
basics.
Yeah, back to basics. I try and reuse. I'm a recycler. Back to basics. Never go and buy another bit of equipment. I've got my Thermomix.
That's it.
And that's it. That's all I. That's
I
all
guess
I want.
it-
It
so
does
right
everything.
you are, right
So
you
that
are.
sprouts are also
Love my sprout.
are a superfood. And we've talked about the ancient foods like your chia, your acai, your maca, your lucuma, your mesquites. All of them are out there and are available.
Health food stores,
Health
organic
food stores, and organic shops. The thing is that do we need them all? You know, lucuma is a sweeter one. Maca is not so sweet. You like it for your chocolate to create a more vanilla taste. Mesquite.
I love this. I love the mesquite as well. It's got a very sweet
taste.
beautiful flavour. I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, you know, I mean, I really do have this penchant for the maca. I wonder if our body actually tells us what we need. You know, like if we're to listen to the innate intelligence of the body, you're not a fan of maca, whereas I am a lover of it, Cyndi. And I just wonder if our bodies tell us what we actually need, and then, you know, it gets to the point where we don't need that anymore.
But if it's telling you need McDonald's, and it's got a problem.
Good point, that.
True.
Good point, touche.
And some people will be sitting there going, my body always tells me it needs ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is that when you are feeding that innate intelligence
Yeah.
the proper resources, it will tell you.
Yeah.
But if there's someone out there and they're not eating like these types of superfoods that we're talking about, which are everyday foods, really. But if they're not eating these superfoods and they're eating dead foods, such as processed foods, lean cuisine, pizzas that are made with cheeses that are not even fermented, you know, and made with hydrogenated vegetable oil, and their body is craving something, they're getting the wrong signals. Of course, the body can't signal the right thing if you're giving it the wrong resources. And it's like, you know, if you feed a petrol car diesel, it's fuel, but it won't work. It's the wrong fuel.
So the firing of the mechanism gets all crossed up because it's not. Yeah. So that's why. Yeah, got it.
All right. So there are our ancient foods, which include quinoa as well, amaranth. There's so many of them out there now. But what's really interesting, I was listening to an interview by she was an anthropologist, archaeologist, and she looks at what foods were like 100,000 years ago.
Oh wow, how fascinating!
Yeah, and most of the foods we eat are actually domesticated foods. They're not our wild foods. So she compared the wild carrot to the carrot we have today. She compared a wild banana. She said a wild banana has so many seeds in it, you would be sick of eating it. All bananas these days are actually planted as a result of, what do they call it?
Grafting.
Grafting and things like that. They don't have banana seeds.
Well, it's interesting actually that you should say that because the other day I was chopping up some banana to put onto my chia, and sometimes I find there's a couple of little dark spots in the centre of the banana, and I looked at it and I thought, I wonder if that's a banana seed, and if I put that in the ground, will I grow a banana tree?
Yeah, but if you eat the bananas in tropical islands or places like that, they're very seedy.
Yeah.
As in, like, they've not been manipulated in the way that we do it.
It was quite interesting listening to her, and I've actually put it on my Facebook as something for people to watch, and it's quite interesting. People going, she doesn't know what she's talking about, but I actually was quite intrigued by it. So many of the foods that we eat are not ancient foods, so finding these ancient foods such as acai and mesquite and lucuma are worth finding and putting into the diet, because then we're getting some wild counterparts instead of the carrot or something like that. Yeah, even the lettuce, she said, the lettuce was very bitter. And like there are, like a rocket. I wonder if rocket's an ancient one, because that's got that.
I love rocket.
Yeah, I do too.
And
that
same
real
with, and what's that other
peppery,
peppery? Is it watercress?
watercress.
Is quite
Love
peppery, isn't it?
watercress.
So do I.
Yeah, love watercress. So, that's why I think ancient foods are really important as part of our superfoods. And whole spices. So many of our spices have oils in them. And the minute it's like the nut, it's protected by the shell. If you look at a nutmeg or a mace or cinnamon bark, they're all in their hard, they're in a hard shell almost. And it's when you break that shell that the oils start to permeate. And you can smell it. If you put it in the Thermomix and you break a nutmeg, my
clove.
gosh, or the clove.
Or a cardamom pod.
So I try and buy all my spices whole now and not in their powder form. And then I powder them in the Thermomix, or, people have got, you can use a coffee grinding machine or anything like that you can use in order to grind them.
They taste different too, don't they?
They do.
You don't
They've got
need
a more
as
powerful
much.
taste.
Yeah.
Like when we make the chai tea, I make everything.
Should we have
chai
one after
tea.
this? Chai tea?
Chai tea.
Just checking.
Oh, have you got it all?
I've got it all.
Yeah.
With ginger, and we put ginger into it. We put all the spices, and it's just heaven. Add water to it.
Is it like a cinnamon, a clove, a star anise?
Star anise, nutmeg. What else?
But
do we
all
put?
in their whole
Cardamom,
form.
black pepper, clove. And then we just grind. There's only a couple of each. It's not like you put heaps. And then you grind it for 30 seconds, 20 seconds. Then you fill it with water and you seep it or boil it for 10, 15 minutes.
I don't even boil it
No,
now.
I
I
go
try
to
not to
80.
take it to 100 degrees. I try and put it at about, I'm going to drink it at 70.
Yeah.
So I put it at about 80 or
Yeah,
90.
that's the neat thing about
and just
Sydney.
and let it steep for about 10 minutes. So you're not destroying all the nutrients that you've just, released.
You can warm up some
Spectacular.
almond or rice milk and then froth it in one of those little hoo flicky things.
Flicky.
And then you put it on top of the chai tea, and then you sprinkle a bit of honey and cinnamon. Yeah, we'll have one after this.
Doesn't that just sound divine?
You should smell the house when you're making one.
It's beautiful.
So I'm loving the way we're looking at superfoods here.
Yeah.
Like we're looking at it as a whole group, but each within their group. Are there any other groups?
Well, our root vegetables like ginseng and garlic and ginger and turmeric and gangling,
Yes.
gangling. What?
that-
How do you
that
say it?
one.
That one. You know the one I'm talking about.
Galangal.
Galangal. Thank you. There's all of
gangrene.
these that are now available in their whole form. So to me, your root vegetables are another super group, we should call them, which have
right.
superfoods in them. Because garlic has an antibiotic, an
Absolutely.
antiviral,
Inflammatory.
all of those things are there. Ginger is wonderful for nausea and it has its medicinal, tummies. So it's really good for medicinal. Ginseng has been known throughout the Asian continents for generations as something that is an elixir for health. So, these are also important.
And turmeric
Yeah.
is amazing for the skin.
Yeah.
And burns.
And great for the immune system.
Great healer.
Do you know, when I was in Africa, my girlfriend and I, while we were there, we had turmeric, hot water and honey every single morning to keep our immune system going.
Oh, get out and that, so obviously it worked. And it was...
We never, we felt great. And we tried to give it to the guys and the kids, but it was just her and I that drank it. I actually loved the taste of it. I really enjoyed it. And whenever I do that now, it reminds me of being in Africa.
Hungry Lion would have liked the taste of you too.
Yeah, he was all flavouring.
Nice.
turmeric.
Nice.
The turmeric and sweetener is honey.
I'm interested about that because, we do so much travelling and I've got a world of travelling coming up.
You do.
Well, so have you.
Turmeric.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we don't just mix up
so-
a bottle of turmeric with honey and boiling water and keep that in the flask. That flies on the plane with us.
Yeah,
with
they won't let you
Kim's
take it on.
Immune
Yeah,
boost.
you
They
can't.
won't let you take it on. So
not
you know what?
internationally.
But you know what we just did? I've just been overseas.
Make a paste and
every
then throw it into
morning.
the bottle.
Yeah,
Paste will work.
every morning I had this beautiful man. You know how beautiful it is when you're staying in a hotel and other people cook for you and things. This beautiful man, Errol, would come down every morning and he would make my tea, which was a bunch of peppermint or mint, slices of ginger,
Yeah.
and slices of lemon.
Ah.
He'd fill it with water, and that was my morning tea every morning. So ginger, mint, and lemon was my morning tea. Just seeped for 10 minutes. I'd take it back to my room and I'd sip on it through the day. The most beautiful tea. I loved it. You don't even need tea bags. Like if you want to make infused type of drinks.
Yeah.
These to me are superfood. This is using superfoods in its best way. Anything else?
Well, I was just thinking of something as we were talking about international travel, because I had something. Actually, we've just looked at the time, and it's an hour. So we might leave that international travel for another conversation.
Because I think that is a whole other topic on how to care for yourself when you're traveling, from a skincare perspective, from a mental perspective, and sleep.
And eating.
And eating. So that's a really good next topic.
I just want everybody to know that we absolutely floor ourselves that we can talk about one topic for an hour.
When we start, we go, God, is this really going to go for an hour? Have we really got that much to say?
And we do. Here we are, 1 hour and 3 minutes later, and you need to finish up, Carren.
So
just before you do, very quickly, just give us the 8, what we consider were the 8 superfoods.
So 1 is all your greens, but especially freshly picked. 2 is all your ferments. 3 are your nuts and seeds, but especially in their shell and activated by being soaked. 4 are our ancient foods, so the macas and the lacumas and the chias and the inchis, etc. 5, I actually put as ancient fruits because we didn't even get a chance to talk about that. But your ancient fruits, we might talk about that another time, but they're like your goji berries and those types of things.
Umeboshi plums. And
all of those. 6 was our sprouts, 7 was whole spices, and 8 are root vegetables such as garlic and ginger and ginseng.
Fantastic.
Well done.
So if you guys have any other ideas, or if you have any other ideas and recipes and thoughts around superfoods, be sure to share them. You know, we've got our Facebook page now, which is www.facebook.com/up-for-a-chat. Jump on there and share your recipes with each other. Anything that you've done specifically with superfoods. Let's get it out. Let's get as many people playing with this as much as we possibly can. Because, you know, once we start to experiment with food, the world's our oyster and it's amazing. Also, join us on the wellnesscouch.com/up-for-a-chat, where we love to get your comments and we love to interact with you there as well. It's great hanging out with you. So join us here as your professional reminders on Up for a Chat next week, and be part of the ripple effect that's changing the world. Bye for now.
This has been a production of TheWellnessCouch.com. Check us out on Facebook and join in the conversation on Facebook.com/TheWellnessCouch. Subscribe to each show on iTunes and check us out on Twitter. The Wellness Couch, streaming wellness into your lives.
Hi, Dr. Brett Hill from That Paleo Show here. Would you like to dedicate 10 hours to yourself to get your nutrition, your exercise and your mindset all on track? Would you like to do it with the Wellness Guys, the Up for a Chat girls and over 500 other wellness enthusiasts? Then you have to join us Saturday, August the 17th at Crown Melbourne for our next Wellness Summit. We'd love to see you there. For great group discounts and to secure your spot, go to www.thewellnesssummit.com.